Hello, my name is Melanie Cavalier, and I'm the Chief of Innovative Care Delivery at the Maryland Healthcare Commission, or MHCC. Welcome to this session of MHCC's Beyond the Textbook Real World Medicine and Case Studies series. This series is part of the MHCC Learning Network. Today's presenter will be Dr. Khanna, Professor of Family and Community Medicine and the Director of the Maryland Tobacco Control Resource Center at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Today, Dr. Khanna will be informing us about emerging products to support nicotine addiction treatment. Thank you for presenting today. Please proceed.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you all for listening. And big thank you to MHCC and Melanie Cavalier for inviting me. Today I'm talking about emerging nicotine products, which are the newest and the hottest nicotine products on the market. This is my team. Just want to introduce them and also want to acknowledge that some of our slides are borrowed from Truth Initiative. I'm going to start with a nice data slide, which is based on a youth survey that MDH does. And this just shows you who uses tobacco. This is youth use, anybody under 18. The reds are the highest users. They're all on the shore. And the yellows that you see are the next in line, with the lighter ones coming in after that. What we also find is that people who start using tobacco are frequently associated with current marijuana use, alcohol use, suicide attempts. So there's a lot of behavioral overlay in people who use tobacco. These are the young people. And in both adults and children, we find that adverse childhood experiences are definitely associated with high use of tobacco. So this includes sexual abuse, caregiver incarcerations, mental health things, partner violence, just a lot of terrible things that children are exposed to. I'll move on to show you some of the work we've done in our EHR, which you may be interested in. So at the University of Maryland, we have been successful in including tobacco as our fifth vital sign. So we have that section that you see right here with an editable tobacco history that the medical assistant who checks in our patients, does the blood pressure, weights, and such, can actually go in and fill out for us. We also have built a decent tobacco history tool, which you're seeing over there, which can actually save some of this information for us. In the past, what was happening is we would check off this part, and then we would come back a couple, times later, and we'd say, okay, have you now quit? And they'd say, yeah. And we'd say, oh, okay, switch to former. And you would not be able to retrieve that previous history at all. But now, with the advent of this table, it's a little bit better. So we think it's a better tool. We have a clinician decision support tool, which we built a while ago in Epic. And this particular clinical decision support aid has actually been highlighted by the CDC in their tobacco change package as well. All of these things can be made available to you. This, of course, is available online. You can see it from CDC, but any of these other things, you're welcome to ask, and we will certainly send them to you. This is the biggest tool we put together in 2020, and that's our e-cigarette vaping assessment tool. So we were trying to collect data on what e-cigarettes were at that time, 2020. And as of now, there have been about 2 million observations of this so far. So that's very exciting. But that comes down to approximately 500,000, just about 5.5 million, 564,000 individuals. So moving on to the newest, I promised to talk about emerging nicotine products. So I'm going to tell you a lot about nicotine pouches and then go on to the cessation services that are available to you for free mostly. So oral nicotine pouches is one of the newest things on the market. This is what we had before. We had snuff, snus, we had chewing tobacco, which kind of looks like that. And now we have these nicotine pouches that have just come to the market. This is again a picture of the snuff, snus, and pouch. And what you find in these pouches is that they're very sleek. You can see multiple types over here. This is what each individual pouch looks like. It goes under your lip, upper lip in the front. And this is the kind of powder that's placed under there. And it takes only 15 minutes to absorb all this nicotine right from your upper lip. These things usually come in multiple flavors. So you're seeing a whole ton of flavors here. And what we've seen is that oral nicotine market share has been going up and up, mainly in this cooling mint area. So if you can see this green markings right up here, 61% of the total flavored market is this mint flavor. It kind of goes to say that mint is what eased tobacco, essentially the use of cigarettes and then e-cigarettes, and now we're into pouches. So what kind of nicotine is in these? We, as you know already, we have the tobacco plant nicotine, we have synthetic nicotine, a little bit is present in some of these kinds of vegetables as well. And the pouches on the market have both types of nicotine. So this is tobacco-derived nicotine, and these are other pouches that are available with completely synthetic nicotine. But the good news is that the FDA does regulate these. The most popular size of pouch is the 6 milligram pouch, and you find it's about 60% of the total market at this time. Now, you would obviously consider, is this as bad as the cigarettes were? And so these are a listing of all the carcinogens that are present, all of the substances that are harmful to health. All of these are listed here for you. And certainly there are plenty of these available. Now, as we are seeing more and more children use it, we want to remember that nicotine is very harmful to developing brains, and we have no idea what these long-term effects are going to be. But the marketing of these pouches is so crazy. I mean, just look at this. It's everywhere. It's on the ice you buy. You would go into the shop behind your gas station. These are the kinds of things you see, literally hundreds of these products available right at the gas station. How convenient can they make it? What we're also seeing is that there's a lot of advertising. Social media is huge, but so is radio, TV. You've got all these influencers who are coming out and talking about it. They're being present at events. They go to these music events and other events and set up these kinds of pop-ups. So these attract people. People want to go see, okay, what's the fun thing in there? What are they giving away? And of course, they have these rewards. So you can buy it, you can collect points, and then you can order all these cute things, that come to you. Think of it, $100 Amazon card. I mean, imagine that. So in addition to what they're doing with all that money, they also are creating this culture, this kind of subculture. And they're even trying to create a country where you can use the Zin, which is Zimbabwe, which is really quite unpleasant. However, all these things are going on. They're trying to make pop products. They've got just crazy amounts of activities going on. Okay, let's look at what's happening in the market. Now, all the smokeless stuff, the snuff, snus, is kind of staying stable, but these oral nicotine products have elevated to by almost 36% the total oral nicotine market. So you can see it's a big market share, and it's anticipated that this is going to keep going up. They're thinking that these are just going to keep going up. So what's our industry doing in response? They're building a new unit, a whole new manufacturing unit going on. And this, I believe, is going to be in Kentucky. There is already one in Colorado and one in Kentucky. So who's using this stuff? I mean, you're thinking like, who on earth is using this? Well, average age is 39 years and 33% are women. So the huge numbers are in male users. Okay, so men are more likely to use it. The surveillance using the CPS test, which is generally federally acquired, the NYTS, all these are showing a nice increase in 21 to 24-year-olds. This is only pouches up to 18%. So you really need to be aware of what these things are and how your children and your young adults can become addicted to these things. Zinn did go through a permission process, and all of these products have been approved by the FDA, or rather authorized by the FDA for marketing. They're not approved for use like in public health, but they are authorized. And what that authorization does is to put some restrictions on how they can advertise. They're not supposed to pay these influencers on social media. They're not supposed to be doing mass market advertising and all this. But as you know, there are workarounds for all of these things which have been going on. And there are lots of people trying to copy Zinn. So there are all these other makes that are also on the market. And Lucy is the first one to come up with a newer product called Breakers, in which the flavor is a little tiny, beautiful little green or beautiful colored granule inside the pouch, which you can break. And then it gives you this burst of flavor. Um, Celebrities, Tucker Carlson was one of the first ones to advertise for Zinn, and he's now moved on to any other type he can find. And it is feeling like, is this Jewel all over again? If you remember Jewel, Jewel was bought by Altria, and in the pouch situation, that was bought by Philip Morris. So these big companies are coming in and buying these products and just creating this huge proliferation all over the market. You can see them by the hundreds and thousands of these products all over the place. So e-cigarettes have evolved. I mean, we started with these cigalikes, we went on to mods, pods, we then got disposables, new generation disposables, and now we've got these smart vapes. So you're wondering, what are these smart vapes? Well, they have a digital screen. They can adjust the flavors. You can do visual notifications. You can play games on it. And there's more. You can answer your phone. These little devices can answer your phone. They do fitness tracking. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. So disposable e-cigarettes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is volume, e-liquid volume capacity in milliliters. So starting out somewhere here at 5.7, in 2022, we're going to be almost double in the end of 2024. So these huge big things are being sold in the market, and people are getting very excited by all of these things. So disposable e-cigarettes, the strengths have gone up, and the cost has gone down. And what we're also seeing is that they're sweeter. So when it's sweeter, you tend to use it more. That's the thinking. Um, and then every celebrity they can find is endorsing these things. So you would be so excited to buy something that was marketed by, here you go, anybody you feel like. So it's an agile, irregular, tobacco industry, which has created all these new nicotine products, and they're very agile. So they're always ahead of regulations, and it is very difficult to manage the regulatory challenges. The other issue, and very big issue, is that e-cigarettes are sold illegally, and the majority of the market, 86%, is actually illegal. All of it is not authorized by the FDA. So makes you wonder, right? I mean, how is it these people are getting a hold of these things? Why are they so excited by illegal products? And what's in these illegal products? I mean, you gotta wonder. And some of that we know is the 6-methyl nicotine and some of the salts of nicotine that are in there. But unfortunately, it's being sold everywhere, and people are getting enticed to do that. So, what can we do? We have some resources that we can share with you today. So I'll go into some of our resources. So I lead the Tobacco Control Resource Center, which does all of these things. We do trainings. We can come out to your practice and do some training. We can also go to local health departments. We host a what's called annual best practice advisory type of meeting, in which we bring together expert speakers. We invite people from the community. And that conference is very well attended. So we certainly invite you to participate. We also do webinars, and those webinars can be tailored to the newest and the greatest nicotine or tobacco product on the market. These low nicotine cigarettes, which I expected to reach market at some point. So we hope to do a webinar on those. We've just finished a series of 5, and we are, of course, looking at doing something to expand our work in tobacco, because we know that the tobacco users, once they hit 50, and if they've smoked for 20 plus years, they are eligible for lung cancer screening. So we will be doing monthly webinars to teach people how to get the history, how to get people tobacco treatment, and also refer them to lung cancer screening. So how to quit resources. There are all these resources that we put on here for you. Live Vape Free, which is actually a very inclusive resource. So if you had somebody with maybe say they were from the LGBTQ community, or they were just feeling like they were marginalized in some way, that is a really good website. We have the Maryland Quit Line, which is available in multiple languages. We also have the Maryland Tobacco Practice that is present at University of Maryland, which takes telehealth as well. So the Maryland Quit Line is providing 24/7 support for anyone over the age of 13. So say you had a 14-year-old, you're saying, or a 13-year-old who has been using e-cigarettes or vaping, or just vaping, or using pouches, some such, you can refer them to the Quit Line, or cigarettes perhaps. There are special programs for pregnancy, youth, those in behavioral health, and those are offered by the Quit Line. And the Quit Line has the capacity to send up to 12 weeks of free nicotine replacement therapy to the patient. And also, they can offer you a website where people can go to access services. So not only just talking to a person, but you can do web access. You can also do texting. They have the capacity to do texting as well. So these are some of the ways that Marylanders, which is the individual in your practice, can access Quitline services. You can call this line, go on the web, or you can get a referral from your provider, and it can be either electronically sent or via fax. I think most people are getting away from fax now, but you can use fax, e-referrals, online referrals, any sort of referral you like, or you can just hand them a number and say, please call this number. If you're ready to enroll, there is a texting option, which is 34191 to enroll in that. There are also other texting services that are available to you through CDC, through the Truth Initiative. The Truth Initiative has a Become an X program, which is really a wonderful program and worth looking at what they offer. So this is our table of all of the things that are offered under the Quit Line, and we added the Truth Initiative, Live Vape Free down here for your convenience. We also put in all these insurances if you wanted to see what's covered under what. But really, all these services are free. At the back end, if you have Medicaid, then the Quit Line will bill Medicaid and get reimbursed for any sort of nicotine replacement therapies that they might have sent you. So the number of sessions offered is listed down here. So if you're pregnant, you get 7 of these. And yes, you can get nicotine replacement therapy. Right now, we're offering the patch, the gum, the lozenge, or you can get a combination if you wanted patch and lozenge, patch and gum. You can certainly get those for 12 weeks. We do recommend using 2 products, one as a maintenance, which is your patch, and the second a gum or a lozenge. Now, there are 2 drugs that are approved for nicotine cessation, and several of you might have heard about at least Chantix. So Chantix is certainly available, not through the Quit Line. It needs a prescription from the doctor. So you need a prescription, as also for bupropion, which is older. So these are available for 12 weeks for most conditions, except if you're younger than 18. So if you're 17 and younger, then, and you've been referred to the Quit Line, they cannot give you nicotine replacement therapy because unfortunately you need a prescription for the child to go to the pharmacy and to get that. So, except for children, everyone else can get any of these things. They are all covered. They can get counseling sessions. These are the number of weeks that they're available. And except for these, where the web services, any web service, there is only 4 weeks of nicotine replacement if you were using only the web. If you're doing anything like texting and such, then they will send you 12 weeks, which is obviously needed if you're trying to quit. So this is a little summary. So the standard care priority populations are listed here. Live Vape Free is here. Live Vape Free is actually sponsored by the MDH. And NRT is for young adults only, which is 18 plus. If you have any questions on this, please be sure to ask me. I'm now going to talk a little bit about our practice. So we run a tobacco health practice at the Midtown campus, and it is on the 9th floor. It's a beautiful building. It's a lovely place to go. You will be seen by a pulmonologist there, Dr. Deepak. There is a coach present there, and Julia Melamed is our nurse coach. We have another coach who's wonderful. That is Colleen. Colleen Kernan, she's there too. So they will walk you through your treatment strategy. They'll help you set a quit date. They'd also help the person determine if they want to be called after they leave the office. Would they like a call? If they'd like a call, certainly the coach will call them, and they can be called multiple times as needed. And usually the coaches will keep these patients in a list and continue to follow them for up to 6 months if they'd like to be called. Some patients will say, no, 1 month's enough. I don't need any more calls. And that is a decision that they will make together with their coach. I want to remind us that lung cancer screening is certainly something we should be doing in everybody who smokes, besides connecting them to all of these services. At the practice, we do have free samples, so you can use the initial patch maybe in the office. Maybe you get a lozenge you can start with. And this office accepts almost all insurances and does not need any sort of referral. That is the contact information for you right there. And the address of this practice is right down here. So I'm going to stop here. And if you have any questions, please send them to me so that we can address any queries that you might have.
So thank you so much, Dr. Khanna. This is such an important and evolving market. And, as you were speaking to, they are marketing to our to many young people. So it's really important to stay on top of this. So we appreciate the update on the emerging nicotine products as well as the treatment options. So MHCC does plan to offer additional webinars in the Beyond the Textbook Real World Medicine and Case Study series on topics that support innovative care delivery efforts that are focused on value-based care and practice transformation.